So today I am going to demonstrate to you how to create exercise 2, which will be Eric Grant's expenses. So first of all, we go into Brightspace. So let me make sure that I am sharing my screen. Go screen 1, share. Okay, so with any luck, you guys are all seeing Brightspace now. Okay. So into Brightspace and into spreadsheets, obviously. From here, you will go into learning resources, spreadsheets, SCQF5, practice exercises, and you can download this practice exercises document. Okay, download this practice exercises document. I have it open right here, and this is exercise 2, Eric Grant's expenses. So create a spreadsheet from the following information. If I want to create a brand new spreadsheet, I would go to my start menu and go to Excel. This one's already here, just bear with me, and it has created a brand new workbook. Okay, I could use my Windows key and my arrow keys. Okay, arrow keys just to the left of the number keypad. So Windows key and left arrow key, and that would split my screen. I could then put my instructions on the right hand side, Tuesday. I could begin typing. Okay, Eric Grant expenses, quarter 1, and so on. I already have this information. Okay, I have typed it up in order to save some time. So I'm going to go into the one that I have already typed up. So this is the one I have already typed up, ready, prepared. I have done it. That is the same information as in here. Okay, so it's the same information as in here. Obviously, it doesn't look quite the same yet because I haven't yet formatted it to look at currency or anything. So back into my spreadsheet. What I want to do, I've typed in all the information, but I now want to make sure that some of these columns are formatted so that they show currency rather than just general numbers. Okay, so in order to format, remember A is a column, B is a column, C is a column, 1 is a row, 2 is a row, 3 is a row, and depending where I'm sitting, that is my cell address, my individual cell address. So at the moment I'm in D5, and I also know this because it's in my cell address button up here. Okay, so I want column B, and then I'm going to click on column C as well. Okay, column B, use my shift key, click on column C, click on column D, and click on column E. You need to be sitting on the letters at the top of the columns before the entire column will highlight. And I used my shift key there to do that. Okay, so I used my shift key. I sat in column B, sit on the B, click left mouse button, press shift and hold the shift key down, then click on C, click on D, click on E. And actually, I'm going to click on F at the moment as well, because it is also going to be a number. Okay, I want to format these columns as currency. So remember, I go up here, I'm in the Home tab, I go up here where it says number, and I can just pull it down to say currency, and I have my currency. It's got my pound sign with my 2 decimal points afterwards. Now, if I go to the instructions, calculate the total for each expense, enlarge the main heading, amend F3 to read annual total. Okay, so calculate the total for each expense. So in order to calculate the total for this expense travel, we would enter a formula, and that formula is sum. We want to add up, we want to sum up everything to the left of this button. So what I do is I will press the sum key, and then I will check what's saying B5 to E5, so that's B5 to E5, correct? I press enter, and that's correct. You might be tempted to do this manually all the way down. Do not do that. When you come to the third one, it will create a problem because the sum function automatically prioritizes those numbers above rather than to the left. So it would try and sum up those numbers above, F5 and F6, this one and this one. Okay, so we don't want to do that. To delete these. That's not what you want to do. Once you put in your formula at the very top, in the top one, B5 to E5, what you want to do is come along until you sit at the bottom right hand corner of that cell. Make sure you're sitting in that cell with the formula. Okay, so you have done your sum to total up the expenses for travel. Now click back in that cell so that it's highlighted green. And at the bottom right hand corner, when you get a solid black cross, put down your left mouse key, hold it and pull it down. And that will copy the formula all the way down. You can see the third one now, B7, B7 to E7, and so on. Okay. Now the other instructions I think I've already done. Enlarge the main heading, amend F3 to read annual total. I've already done that. Add a new label in A11 and title it quarterly total. Again, I've already done that. I enlarged Eric Grant's expenses just by sitting on it, and I chose which size I wanted to make it. Okay, that's all. So, next instructions. Calculate each of the 4 quarterly totals and then calculate the overall annual total. Okay, so calculate each of the 4 quarterly totals. So in order to calculate the total for quarter 1, again, it's a sum function, okay? Sum function. I'm just going to choose sum and I'm going to press enter. And again, I can sit in that cell with the sum function. I can go to the bottom right hand side until I get a solid black cross. Using my left mouse button, drag this over. Okay, drag it over. And I only want the sums or the totals of the 4 quarters at this stage. Now, calculate the overall annual total. So I'm going to make sure that we know what the overall annual total is. So I'm going to put down here overall annual total. And then I will make this column slightly wider to contain that information. So I'll sit in column A and then I'll come until I've got solid black cross, left mouse button down, and I'm dragging it across. Okay, but you must be sitting in the letter A when you do that to enlarge the width of the column. That's how I did that one. So overall annual total, over here, annual total, I'm just going to do a sum again for all of it. Okay, 115860. There we go. That's great. So that's us so far. What else do we have to do? Add a new heading in G3, percentage of total expenses. I have done that. Okay, percentage of total expenses. I have done that in G3, as we can see. Calculate what percentage each of the annual expenses has cost. Okay, so in order to calculate out this, the annual total for travel as a percentage of the overall annual total, what I would do is divide 103 by 115860. So I need to put an equal sign in here, equal sign, and I have to tell Excel that this cell here, F5, is to be divided. Now the divide sign in Excel is a forward slash, okay, forward slash. And I now tell it which cell to divide by. So here we go. It is cell F13. Press enter. I also want to display this as a percentage. So column G, sit in the G, press your left mouse button and go to percentage. And there we go, it's 8.95%. Now you might think that's great. Okay, Kath, I'll do what I normally do. I'll sit here in this column and I will replicate this formula all the way down. But you are going to have a problem. When Excel replicates formulas, it automatically adds on one cell, one extra row and one extra column to the address. So as we can see here, the formula in this cell here, which is correct, is F5 divided by F13. This one is F6 here, okay, divided by F14. So it's adding an extra row down here, it does this, okay? We can see in the totals it does this, B5 to E5, B6 to E6, B7 to E7. The way to get around this, I'm going to delete those just now, don't you do them. The way to get around this, okay, is we put dollar signs before the F13. F13 is my cell here. This address for this cell is never going to change in the formula for calculation of percentages. So to tell it that this is an absolute cell address, absolute cell reference, this cell address is not going to change, not this one. The others will change. The expenses ones will change, but the overall annual total will not change. The total is always in this cell. So what I need to do is put a dollar sign just before the F, just before the column, and then a dollar sign just before the row. Okay? And that dollar sign tells Excel, do not change this cell, always use this cell. If I press enter, it's still 8.95, but now when I sit in here and I go to the bottom right, solid cross and pull down, instead of getting mistakes, we can see that this is correct. Now, if I wanted to very quickly check that this was correct, I could do a very quick sum, make sure all of these percentages add up to 100%. They do. I don't need that in there. That was just me checking for my own benefit. Okay. That is how we work out percentage of total. And it's really important you put the dollar sign in, and then when we copy the formula down, you can see the dollar sign stays there and it stays the same cell. Dollar, column F, dollar, row 13. It stays the same. That means that we have classed F13 as an absolute cell reference, an absolute cell address. Absolute means it doesn't change at all. Okay. Next, calculate shade and put a border around the main heading. Okay, so to shade and put a border around the main heading, if I want to put a border around this heading here, what I can do is choose the borders button here, and I can do outside borders. There we go, click outside borders, and that would put a border around there. I could shade it by going to my shading area. I tend to right click, I tend to format cells, and then I go to fill. Okay, fill, and I can tell it which colours to shade. Maybe nice lemon there, something like that. Another way of doing that is to highlight what you want, and you can use the fill here. So again, I could use nice light lemon. Okay, so you can do it there, or you can highlight everything that you want and right click and format cells. There's two ways of doing this. There's always more than one way. It's whichever way suits you guys best. Okay. Next, instructions. Save the spreadsheet as ERIC expenses and print one copy of the results. Okay, save the spreadsheet as ERIC expenses. I have it saved as ERIC exercise 2, ERIC grant, but I will now save it, file, save a copy. Okay, I'm just showing you how to save. I know we can do it by changing the name of the document, but here we go. In my OneDrive, and at the moment I'm in NQ Business, I could equally be in NC Admin, and I'm in Spreadsheets. Okay, so what were we to call it? ERIC expenses. ERIC expenses. Cool. ERIC, gosh, expenses. I have saved it in my spreadsheets area of my OneDrive, so I know where to find it again in my spreadsheets folder. Right, to print, if we were to print, remember you're not really going to be printing in class, but we will need screen snips of your printing. So file, print, let's see. That's okay, it's all in one page. If for any reason my columns were slightly wider and I was going on to 2 pages, okay, let's see, we can see a dotted line here. That would mean this is going on 2 pages. File, print, you can see that was page 1 of 2. And that's not very good. So what I would do is change my orientation to landscape and put it all on one paper this way. Okay, one A4 sheet. Another way you can do that is by scaling. You can say scale fit sheet on one page, fit all columns on one page, or fit all rows on one page. Okay, so there's a way of doing that. But at the moment, I just want landscape orientation, and that's it. If I wanted to prove that I could print, which you may have to do for your assessment, I use my Windows key. I keep my Windows key down, I keep my shift key down, and then I press the letter S, and this opens up my snipping tool. So that's the Windows key, the shift key, and the letter S. Using my left mouse button, I come up to the top, and I hold my left mouse button down, and I drag. There we go. And that creates a screen snip for me. Equally, you can do a print screen as well. I would then go on to a brand new Word document, and then I can right click and paste. Okay, paste options, or I can Control V and paste. For the purposes of assessment, I would then be telling my lecturer what this is, so evidence of printing Eric expenses. Okay, you would need to save this Word document as print evidence, file, save as. I'm going to go into my NQ business rather than here we go. NQ business spreadsheets and print evidence for Eric expenses. So I know exactly what that document is. Okay, and that's my print evidence. If I need to display evidence of printing for assessment purposes. Now, is there anything else? Print a copy displaying the formula. Okay, so back into the spreadsheet. I'm going back from the print page. If I wanted to display these as formula, and you might want to do this, you will need to do it for assessment so that I can see the formulas, but you may want to do it in business for some reason or another as well. What you would do is formulas, go to the formulas tab at the top and just press show formulas. And there we go. There we go. So you can see that all the formula is showing now. And in this way, as lecturers, we can see that you are actually using the appropriate functions rather than saying cell C5, add C6, add C7 and such like. We've got the sum function in here, and we've got the absolute cell references in here as well. Okay, so it allows us to see at a glance what you have done. Right, in order to print that, again, back to File, Print, and this time we can see that it's going on to 2 pages. So this is where my scaling might come in. I might say fit sheet on 1 page or fit all columns on 1 page. And let's see, there we go. As long as it's still legible for me to read. Okay, so as a lecturer, I need to be able to read it, and I do have poor eyesight, but I think I should be able to read that. So again, Windows key, Shift key, letter S, left mouse button at the top of the page, hold down left mouse button, come down and let go. Back into my print evidence document, and here we go. And this time, evidence of printing formula for Eric expenses, and I'm going to Control V or print, and there I can see I have that there. If I was to make this document bigger, you guys can see the formula is there. Okay, and that's how you would print formula. Back into the spreadsheet. I don't really want to print, so I'm going back into the spreadsheet again, and I'm going to take off my show formulas. So I'm in the formulas tab, take off show formulas, and it's back the way that it should be for us to see. Are there any other instructions? That's it for just now, guys. Okay, that's it for just now. So make sure you save your spreadsheet and then carry on with the rest of the exercises. I will stop recording now.